What's up, guys? Back to another video. I'm Parker Miller, and today we're doing what if Austria made an empire? This has been requested by one of my viewers, like most of my other videos on mapping. And so thank you guys so much for I think like 270 subscribers now, somewhat close to that. So thank you so much for 270 subscribers, and I'm sorry that I didn't post a video last week. I was out of my house and I was not away from my PC, so I could not record. So I am on my PC right now, so I can record and I can do a video. So without further ado, let's get straight into this. So first and foremost, Austria looks around to see what countries there is, and they ultimately decide on Slovenia. I thought it was called Slovakia, but Slovakia is right here. So Slovenia is the first target of the Great Austrian Empire. And so first and foremost, they launch a invasion to go down to the coast and cut Slovenia off from the ocean, in which it is successful, as Austria captures the entire coast and continues to push into the country. And it launched also a part northern offensive, but it does go well. Slovenia, after almost its entire country falling, does surrender. And the peace treaty is total annexation of Slovenia into the Austrian Empire. And so now Austria starts to build a navy so that it can so it can compete with Italy in the Adriatic Sea. And its second target is Croatia, because they want to continue to expand their Adriatic coast, and that's their only way. It's because they would lose to Italy. Oh, and also NATO, EU, UN, are all gone. They don't exist no more. So with this does trigger a sort of Balkan War, but it's mostly just Yugoslav countries, which is just it's just these ones going to get up against each other. You see? I mean, while there is some anger in other countries, but it's mostly just contained to the old Yugoslav area. And so let's begin. Oh, and also I should call this in. The Serbs rebel in Serbs in both Croatia and Bosnia both rebel. Bosnia and Herzegovina both rebel and join forces with the Serbian government to expand Austria. Expand Serbia. My bad. Sorry. So with this, Albania. Oh yeah, I should probably just. Kosovo rebels against the Serbian government too. And so now let's get into this. The Albania, North Macedonia, and the Kosovo rebellion launch an offensive to the north to a mostly to a Serbian army focused on the north, but they do begin to send assets down south, as Albania and Bosnia and Herzegovina both are able to basically destroy Montenegro and make a unified front against Serbia as they continue to push north. But a defensive line by the Serbians is set up right here. which blocks any further advance by them. But with combining of the new up and coming power of Austria and the Serbian armies is focused over here, along with the rebels. They are able to cause significant damage to Croatia and Bosnia and Herzegovina, as the entire northern half of Croatia falls quite quickly, actually, because they're just overwhelmed. But the remaining Croatian forces do regroup and are actually able to launch a counteroffensive against Austrian forces, and I mean it doesn't go like great the plan, but they are able to capture some back of their Adriatic coast, and also their country too, along with Bosnia and Herzegovina. As just now one big front for both alliances. But this does lead to but as Serbia is fully mobilized now, it is able to is that they are able to overwhelm. Wait, hold on, is it still going? Yes, it is. So they are able to overwhelm the North Macedonian area, which is right here. Albania and Kosovo try to reinforce it, but it's just but that pure amount of troops cause the entire defensive line to crumble as it completely gives in. They are entirely pushed back as well. As now the rebel territory of Kosovo is there's deadly battles and stuff, but they are just overwhelmed as as North Macedonian remaining Kosovo troops and Albanian troops are just kind of now collapsed. Their army have now just collapsed from due to the amount of retreating they have done, and thus the pure force of the attack of Serbia just overwhelms them. Albania is cut in half. North Macedonia loses 80% of its 80% of its like 90% of its country, with only just a few with like only like 2 dozen soldiers still remaining as part of also a Albanian attempt to try to defend it. Montenegro the Montenegro is half liberated. It's half taken back by Serbian forces, maybe a little bit over, but the defensive line, they're able to establish a new defensive line. Bosnia, Herzegovina, and Croatia are able to, and but Albania is just yeah, they're just done. Back to the north. With the south done, Austria really launches a offensive, and yeah, it just basically swarms the rest of the defenders as the countries never surrender, but they just fight to the last man and fall. So with the new peace treaty and stuff, Europe is kind of like significantly changed as well. All this territory, um, all this territory right here, and down to here, is all become parts of a new Serbia, which is now an ally. Which is this is a weird saying, but um, now starting to become like a sort of ally to Austria, but it would not last, as you will see later in the episode. But ultimately, the only really remaining part of a country is a crumbling Albania, because they just know that Serbia knows that there's just no way in heck that they're going to be able to control all of it without severe manpower, without losing tons of lives, as they're probably going to be using thousands of soldiers every year trying to control half of the northern half of Albania. As this is Austria now, it's kind of ugly, but they have accomplished their goals of taking back, of establishing a large coast to compete with Italy once more in the Adriatic, which is accomplished successfully, as they now want to reclaim their old territory up north and east. So Czechia, Slovakia, and Hungary are all declared war on. The reason for this is, reclaim territory and reestablish Austria as once more a power in Europe. So what their main goal right now is to do is, since Slovakia is a very mountainous nation, they're going to cut through. Their goal is basically just to cut. What the heck? It's just to cut through, like, right there on the border between the two nations, leaving Czechia isolated and alone. Stomp it, and then use their entire army to just push all the way to Romania and Ukraine and destroy both nations. And so they put into action their plan. And it is partly but it is partly successful. But they get stopped by massive combined Czechoslovak army, which halts their advance due to prior knowledge. And this leads to Hungary launching a massive advance down into captured old Croatian and Bosnian Herzegovinian territory. But their main objective is Vienna, which Vienna is like on the border right here. So I'm just kind of, okay, this might not be correct. This probably not is correct at all, but I'm gonna say Vienna is like, I would say like Vienna is like right here. If it is incorrect, please don't yell at me in the comments. It's just a guess. This is the big block of Vienna right here. So let me just. The Hungarians go in for a tech on this on the side, as then they encircle the city completely and build that up too, so to make sure the city is fully encircled, as they close in on all sides and begin a devastating warfare, slowly but surely bouncing on the city, as they're able to capture a quarter of it, and then another quarter of it, and then another quarter of it, only leaving tiny bit of Vienna left, as defenders are like overwhelmed at this point. But somehow the Austrian a large chunk of the Austrian army launches a massive offense to try to reconnect the city, which is successful. It's put back on the map of but they are able to recapture north, but they do lose south, but they are back and fighting with the city. Hungarians try another parallel move, but this only leads to an Austrian encirclement of the attackers, but it's weakened, and Hungarian forces are able to break it quite easily. But this does repel the Hungarian thing, as ultimately the battle of Vienna draws to a critical stop, as both alliances try to fight for the city, and if it's captured, it'll cause the collapse of the Austrian Empire. This new Austrian Empire, but this does not really worry them, as the Austrians are able to capture to complete their old objective, but they take much longer, as they swarm in through Czechia at full speed, but they are ultimately able to stop the fight right here, thanks by a defensive line, and so Prague never falls. An advanced Europe here causes massive casualties and many deserts and stuff, and they just call it off, as it's just too costly, and they ultimately just retreat out of some areas to more defensible terrain right here. So basically, the Austrians are just picklocked, as the plans fall upon them. The Hungarians are an update on Vienna. The Hungarians have made a critical breakthrough in the city's defensive line, and it falls. It's horrible news for the Austrian Empire, as the country Sweden falls into civil unrest. But by some miracle of God, the Austrian Empire just somehow keeps it together. They move their capital out west more, farther away from the Hungarians. Once the Austrian army the Austrian army regroups, and also if what the word I said, God, is offensive, I'm super sorry. I'll never say it again. There was the really only word I could think of to fit that sentence. I'm sorry if that is offensive. Part of the Hungarian offensive collapse, and leaving the Vienna part, which is still captured by the Hungarians holding. As the Hungarian army has given all they got, they are lacking equipment severely, but they're still holding somehow. But a massive breakthrough of floods of Austrians from all angles breaks through the defensive line and just forms the country, easily capturing Budapest and causing the Hungarian government and army to fall into turmoil. But the nation does not fall, as they regroup, move their capital literally onto the border of Ukraine, the farthest point away from the Austrian army, and they regroup. But they do continue on to defensive, and then thanks to a two-pronged attack through the mountains, which did take a bit, but thanks to like airplanes and helicopters and stuff, they are able to unite both armies and cut off the Slovakian capital and on the defensive line, holding Vienna. The Slovakian capital holds, but the Hungarians are forced to retreat into Austrian territory, which are forced to retreat as these as the Hungarian advance in Austria continues to collapse. They really don't mind Slovakia really anymore. They just go after Hungary. But they're able to capture the temporary capital, which does lead to the collapse of the Hungarians. But these troops over here are quickly falling upon their new commander, and his instructor to continue to fight, and as for Vienna at this point, Vienna, which is I think I put it right here. No, was it? It was right here, right? Yeah, right here. Vienna at this point, which has long been captured for at this point 2 months now. They launched an offensive on it, but thanks to the collapse of the Hungarian government, the Hungarians are fully pushed out of the city and fully pushed out of Austrian territory. Finally, this does lead to the capital being moved back to Vienna, as it is repairs on the city to begin to happen once more. But at this point, the three nations do surrender. How long has this episode been? Right. All three nations do surrender. As one more war is gonna happen. Hungary receives the worst treatment and is fully annexed. Slovakia also is fully annexed, but Czechia it's kind of ugly, but they do somehow hang on by the tip of their nails. They do lose over half their country, but Prague continues to had held the entire time. So really, there's nothing the Austrians can do to pressure them into doing it. I mean, while they are defeated, they still have leverage, and they are able to use that leverage to save the country. And after 3 years after this war, the Austrians have become basically the dominant power in Europe, but their relationship with Serbia has increasingly deteriorated thanks to World War I things. So a new war does happen as Austria declares the war, but as both nations are relatively strong, the Austrians are able to capture a decent chunk of territory, but the Serbian army is just way too strong, and they just continue to hold on to this territory. As ultimately a peace treaty, as all occupied territory, does fall to the Austrians, as this does also mean the end of the friendship between Austria and Serbia, as both nations do start a new rivalry with each other. And yeah, it's just now there's a new rivalry in Europe. At this point, also, Austria is starting to get new enemies and stuff, as they're slowly losing their grip on Europe, like Italy and stuff. Like all of these nations are thinking to unite to form one big European federation, which will be easily stronger than Austria and could cripple it in the near future. But I won't show that in this episode, as Austria now is continuing to build up to invade Italy. But that never does happen. And thank you so much for watching, guys. This is what if Austria made an empire in 2022. The empire is called the Austrian Empire, and I hope you enjoyed. So goodbye.